He could do everything. He's as good as it gets. He's as good as it gets. He's the most complete fighter on the roster because he submits people. Like he submitted Poirier in the final round.
Yeah.
Incredible submission. But he was winning that fight already. But then, you know, he can also knock you out. He literally does everything. He's one of the best wrestlers in the sport. His top control and his squeeze is insane.
He'll get takedown attempts coming at him very early. The last fight, he didn't have to deal with that when he was fresh. If Islam can start to pressure him early and take him down early, or even just make him wrestle.
Islam is working very hard. He's being vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he'll not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I proven himself. He's #1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're gonna have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much on that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear.
I think Della is gonna get it done. I feel from talking to Tim and also seeing Della, and also I've only spotted Della once, like not really hard crazy, but and I didn't try and take him down at all, but I've seen him at your gym sparring, and his scrambles are crazy.
Yeah, he's
even watching him with Bilal as well, and Gilbert Burns. His scrambles are crazy, and I feel Islam would feel like he bit off more than he could chew once he gets in there with him, because when he puts some things on him, he's like, I'm not standing with this guy, I have to take him down. And then he tries, gets him down, and he gets back up, or he couldn't get him down, because he's a big dude. People don't realize how big Della is as well, and he's solid. So I really
dense, man, just dense.
Dense, yeah. Like when I felt, like I said, we're sparring, and then it's just a weight behind it, and the way he throws it, the body banging, man.
Who do you think wins, Jack or Islam?
It's such a tough one to talk about. Islam is phenomenal. He's good everywhere. Size matters. When you're talking about an extra 15 pounds, when you look at the size of Volkanovski versus Jack Della Maddalena, there's a big size discrepancy. And Volk gave him a good fight. And then Dustin Poirier, it wasn't absolutely completely dominant by Islam. It was a tough fight. Size is going to play a huge part. Even on the ground, I feel like Jack could get it done with just some clean boxing and good takedown defense. But I can absolutely see Islam coming in and doing what Islam does and going out there and just looks like a phenomenal mixed martial artist.
Javier Mendez shared his thoughts, saying it's tough to say whether Jack Della Maddalena would present the toughest test, but he made it clear that Islam Makhachev is eager for the fight and fully prepared. He praised Islam's skill set and relentless work ethic, describing him as a level above any opponent Jack has faced so far. Mendez added that if the fight happens, fans can expect to see a top-tier performance from Islam. He also noted that competing at welterweight suits Islam physically, as he won't be undersized anymore and could emerge as a powerful contender in the division.
You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. You know, I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, you know, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, you know, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, you know, Islam is a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, you know, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, you know, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
Philip Rowe expressed full confidence in Jack Della Maddalena's chances, believing that Jack could come out on top against Islam Makhachev. He argued that Islam might struggle with the size and strength of bigger welterweights. Meanwhile, Jack's striking power and quick recovery after takedowns would give him the upper hand. Rowe even predicted that Jack would finish the fight before it ever made it to the judge's decision.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chillin'.
Hey, now listen, you're welterweight, you've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
my personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in the fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop.
Henry Cejudo predicted that Islam Makhachev would overcome Jack Della Maddalena and secure a second UFC title in a different weight class, describing it as the natural progression in his career. Meanwhile, Kamaru Usman showed his support for Jack, highlighting his composure and believing he possesses the necessary skills to successfully defend his welterweight championship. Both fighters agreed the matchup was likely to occur in October in Abu Dhabi, which means any potential bout between Islam and Ilia Topuria has been postponed for the time being.
Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, keep it shiny, keep it nice for me. JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the talking has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilia versus Islam Makhachev just...
Jack Hermansson, on the other hand, expressed a more measured viewpoint. He emphasized that moving up a weight class often raises uncertainties, especially since Islam has been nearly unbeatable at lightweight and is considered one of the top pound-for-pound fighters today. Although Hermansson was skeptical that Islam would have the same level of dominance at welterweight, he still gave him a slight edge. He also commended Jack's performance against Belal Muhammad, but mentioned he'd like to see Jack face tougher opponents before fully placing him among the sport's elite.
Yeah, it's so hard because you never know when people are changing weight classes. But in lightweight, you know, Islam looks like unbeatable. It's just like maybe the pound for pound best. It's just so insanely good. But can he do it in a weight class above? I'm not sure. Really hard to predict a fight like that. I think I still have to say Islam.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. Yeah, we need to see a few more fights with Jack. He looked amazing against Bilal, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's something about Islam is just so...
Stephen Thompson shared his perspective on the challenges Islam Makhachev could encounter moving up to welterweight. He noted that Islam has a naturally solid build, but many welterweights cut weight from over 205 pounds, so size and strength could play a significant role. Although Jack Della Maddalena may have a slight height advantage, Thompson emphasized that the division's overall physicality would likely be the biggest hurdle for Islam. While acknowledging Islam's exceptional grappling skills, Thompson pointed out that Jack has already gone up against tough wrestlers like Belal Muhammad. He admitted the fight would be tough for Islam, but expressed enthusiasm about the potential matchup and hopes the UFC makes it happen.
No, man. I mean, when you're going up to the welterweight division, those are some big boys. And I know Islam Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. I'm talking about, over 205, 210 to the 215. Some of the guys that I've faced would walk around at that weight. I think like the height, I think they might be the same height. I think JD might be a little taller, but when it comes to those guys and their strength, Islam, I think, is going to have a tough time. Now, do I think he could get it done? Yes. I think he's that good of a grappler. But like I said, JDM has faced some of the best welterweight grapplers and wrestlers in the division. Islam, Belal being one of them. I think it's going to be a tough night for him. I would like to see Islam fight Topuria. That's just me. I would love to see that fight happen. But if he comes up, we'll see what the UFC gets behind. And we all know you got to convince the UFC to make it happen. And you do that first by getting on Twitter, shouting it out, and get people talking about it. And that's what Islam did. So we'll see if that fight happens with...
Stephen Thompson shared his perspective on the challenges Islam Makhachev could encounter moving up to welterweight. He noted that Islam has a naturally solid build, but many welterweights cut weight from over 205 pounds, so size and strength could play a significant role. Although Jack Della Maddalena may have a slight height advantage, Thompson emphasized that the division's overall physicality would likely be the biggest hurdle for Islam. While acknowledging Islam's exceptional grappling skills, Thompson pointed out that Jack has already gone up against tough wrestlers like Belal Muhammad. He admitted the fight would be tough for Islam, but expressed enthusiasm about the potential matchup and hopes the UFC makes it happen.
I think it's a super difficult fight for Islam, this one. He's like, Obviously, he's faced Volk twice. We'll forget about the second one, but the first one, very competitive with the grappling. And now we're talking about he's facing a guy that's some of the best scrambling ability, I think, period, in all of MMA, and some of the most unorthodox grappling. And I think that's what Belal struggled with. Belal really just sticks to a blueprint. The blueprint obviously works very well.
He also complimented Jack's creativity, explaining that it makes him a tougher opponent to prepare for compared to fighters like Belal Muhammad, who often rely on more predictable game plans. Craig noted that Jack's size could catch opponents off guard and predicted the fight would likely feature an intense, stand-up focused battle, something the UFC would be keen to showcase.
But in terms of creativity and what Belal does, I think it's pretty strict. Jack, as you saw in that fight, some of his off balances and grip breaks and some of the things he does, it's really hard to prepare for that. So I think like Islam, the size difference is going to be quite a lot bigger than people think. And we've seen how Volk did on the ground and how much Islam struggled with him in the grappling exchanges. And having seen Jack and Volk's work together, seeing the skill sets, like this is a perfect one. The UFC want guys that stand and bang. I'm trying to still help them out, even though potentially enemy.
Do you feel confident about this one?
Yeah, very, very confident for this one.
Michael Bisping praised Jack Della Maddalena, describing his victory over Belal Muhammad as a major milestone in his career. He applauded Jack not only for his skills in the Octagon, but also for his respectful and humble demeanor, calling him a genuinely good individual. Bisping emphasized Jack's readiness to take on tough challenges and noted that his recent performance has positioned him for the biggest test yet, a potential fight with Islam Makhachev, which Bisping believes is approaching soon.
Tonight belonged to Jack Della Maddalena. He's an awesome human being. I've sat down with him several times and had some conversations. Nice guy, quiet guy, a man of few words, but I tell you what, that was an incredible fight tonight. And he'll take on Islam Makhachev. He doesn't care. He wants to be a part of the biggest fights possible. Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. That's the fight that's going to happen.
Navajo Sterling confidently stated that Jack Della Maddalena would have the upper hand against Islam Makhachev, making any discussions about a future fight with Ilia Topuria irrelevant for now. He pointed to Jack's strong physicality and precise mid-range striking as major factors that would reduce Islam's opportunities to successfully shoot for takedowns. Sterling emphasized that without his usual size advantage, Islam would likely find it difficult to execute his typical game plan.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam. Shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and when you watch JDM, you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. That's hard to shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Dan Hardy offered his take on Jack Della Maddalena, recognizing his impressive skills but raising questions about whether he could sustain dominance in the welterweight division as the level of competition grows. Hardy commended Jack's performance against Belal Muhammad, but expressed some uncertainty about how Islam Makhachev would adjust to the 170-pound weight class. While Hardy didn't expect Jack to lose to Islam, despite Islam's success at lightweight, he wondered if Islam could handle the increased size and endurance demands of a 5-round fight at welterweight.
I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or, he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev, though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, on any day, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev. But Della Maddalena looked very, very sharp against Belal. And I wonder what Makhachev would look like as a welterweight, whether he would look as strong and as lean or whether he would look heavier and, potentially gas himself out because he'd been straight into a 5-round fight.
Charles Oliveira recognized Jack Della Maddalena as a serious threat because of his composed and strategic approach. He pointed out how Jack remained patient during his fight with Belal Muhammad, slowly wearing him down over time. Despite this, Oliveira predicted that Islam Makhachev would rely heavily on his wrestling, with the fight's result hinging on whether Jack can maintain the stand-up battle and land effective strikes.
Quem que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que... Ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo é o time.
George Masvidal described the upcoming matchup as a significant challenge for both fighters. He noted Islam's size and the difficult weight cuts he endured at 155 pounds, suggesting that moving up to welterweight could actually enhance his strength. While acknowledging Islam's talent, Masvidal called Jack Della Maddalena a special competitor and stated that a victory in this fight would firmly establish him among the world's top pound-for-pound fighters.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam. Jack, #1 pound. Wow, that's impressive, you know.
George showed a slight preference for Islam, but acknowledged that the fight wouldn't be easy. He highlighted Jack's strong takedown defense against Belal Muhammad, while noting that Islam's wrestling and technique are on another level. George pointed out Jack's edge in striking speed and early power, but cautioned that if Islam could endure the initial rounds and take the fight into the later stages, his grappling experience might ultimately decide the outcome.
I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Bilal.
Bilal has the best cardio in MMA, but Bilal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique. Not same. Very good, very aggressive. Bilal never stops a dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
That wraps up today's video. What do you think about this potential matchup? We'd love to hear your opinions, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. And be sure to check out our other videos linked on the screen right now.